Hi everyone, how you doing? Welcome to day 2 of Your Time Is Now workshop. So I'm just going to double check that we're streaming into the Facebook group. I'll be with you in literally 2 minutes. Hope you're all having a great week and you're enjoying the worksheet. How did you get on today with beliefs and values? Have you started looking at your worksheets yet? Let me know how you're finding it. And if you've had any light bulb moments. Amazing. So we're streaming live in the group. Okay, so today, day 2. So today is all about beliefs and values. And you might be thinking, what the hell has that got to do with finding more time for yourself, taking your time back? You've signed up for a time workshop and you're talking about beliefs and values. So you might know this already, but our subconscious runs 95% of our actions and behaviours. So if you think about that, if you were a computer, then you're technically only using 5% of your computer capabilities. So just imagine like all the stuff that's going on in the background that you don't even know, like you're not aware of, it's just not on your radar. That's a pretty big chunk of things that are going on. So that's why it's so important that we're talking about this, because you might be thinking that you don't have enough time, but you might have an underlying belief that is telling you and is programmed that you are only worthy and valuable of love when you're 100 miles an hour, when you're doing all the things at once, when you've got this massive to-do list. And that's running the show. Is that the truth? Is that reality? Who knows? But it's your reality. That's the thing. This isn't about making anyone wrong or saying, you know, you should be doing it this way or that way. It's all about just bringing some awareness to your thoughts and emotions that are maybe driving this behaviour and these actions that aren't giving you much spare time. So that's why it's really important to think about this. So we're going to jump straight in. Obviously, we're only going to be chatting about this for about 30 minutes. It's such a meaty topic. I could go on about it for hours. And actually, this is one of the main focuses in the group coaching that I run. So I also run a 6-month programme that's opening up in April. And this is sort of stuff, like we meet every second Monday, and this is the sort of stuff that we really dive deep into, and it's such a game changer for making the changes you want to see. So tonight I'm just going to give you a little taster of what you can expect, just something to help you like go away and think about and just start like chipping away at it. Like I said before, it's not about getting all the answers this week. It's just creating a starting point where you start to think about these things and you shine a spotlight on it and see if anything comes up for you. So what is a belief? A belief is basically the acceptance that something is true, especially, and I think this is this such an important point, when there's no proof. So if you think about it, it's just like, you know, it's a belief, like you might not even know or remember where it comes from. It's one of those things, it's like, it's just how it just is what it is. It's like always been like that. So the thing is, beliefs, because we usually can't remember where they come from, they're usually placed on us or we're conditioned to them at such a young age that we have no choice but to take them on and internalize it. So this might be like a family ideal, a family opinion, or somebody in your family. It might be like your mum or dad's opinion, and they've placed it on you at such a young age that it's become your belief, without your without you having any say so in it. So that's one way that we can create beliefs and have beliefs placed on us by our family or society. So sometimes like society places these on us as well. So I think that's really important to know that. They usually come in the form of generalization. So if you're wondering like if it is your belief or not, they usually come in the form of generalization. So this is impossible. That's the way we've always done it. It runs in our family. That's a good one. There's never enough time. You might have said that to yourself, and is one of the reasons that you've came along to this workshop. So that might be a belief that you have. And as I'm talking, I invite you also to apply it to yourself. Like think about where the type of beliefs you have and how you feel when you say it to yourself and when it happens. So beliefs control the focus of our intention. It determines what info we take in and how we interpret it. So we distort and we generalize and we delete as and when to our beliefs. So our belief is like the sieve in the world, like we're out in the world and the world is just giving us all this input and info, and it goes through our belief sieve and based on the belief system we have in place, that determines what makes it through the sieve into our consciousness or not. So if it's not in our belief system, if it's not something that we've been brought up with or something we agree with, then our brain there's too much info for our brain to hold, so it just deletes stuff that doesn't apply to us. And if working with beliefs is one of the main factors when you're trying to implement change, because you're going to unconsciously interpret those results. So they're consistent with your existing beliefs. Your brain will never make you a liar. Your brain is always looking for evidence to back up your belief system. So the main point of looking at beliefs is to ensure that your belief system is yours. Ensure that this belief system is aligned with what's in your heart and soul, because if it's not, if it's been placed on you by your family or society, that's when it just starts to grate a little bit and it's out of sync, and it doesn't feel as good because it's not really yours, but you don't know what you don't know. So if you've never thought about this before and this is the first time you're looking at your beliefs, then be gentle with yourself, because we're not taught this stuff. We have to learn this for ourselves. But one thing you can do is just get curious, shine a wee spotlight on it, and just start thinking like, where did that come from? When was the first time I heard that? Who did I hear it from all the time? And one question that I really love, that really helped me, it was asking was, whose attention did you crave when you were younger? So if it was, and this is the thing, we can track all our like negative and positive beliefs back to like our family, our upbringing, and it's not to blame anyone, it's just to shine this spotlight on, like track it back and become this detective about where did this actually come from? Like I can't even remember. But when you start asking yourself questions, and this is so powerful, like this is something we do in my program, it's ask yourself really good questions and you get really good answers. So whose attention did you crave when you were younger? So if it was your mum's, it was your mum's. If it was your dad's, it was your dad's. If it was your grand's, what caregiver, what adult in your life did you crave their attention from, and who did you have to be to receive that? So did you have to be perfect? Did you have to be a go-getter? Did you have to be busy? Did you have to be like caring and nurturing? Did you have to be their caregiver? It's really interesting. Have a wee think about that. If you've got a notepad or paper, just jot down anything that pops up tonight as well. Go away and think about it, or come back and watch this live, because like I said, it's quite a heavy topic tonight. This is the biggest amount of info you're going to get over the workshop, but it's so powerful, honestly. So the main factors that affect our action, the action we take, are our beliefs, our fears, emotions, and our thoughts. So once we know that, we can then track back and figure out why we're doing what we're doing. Sometimes we respond so quickly and we don't even respond, we're reacting, constantly reacting, because our thought to behavior is so quick. We have no buffer zone. So when we start taking our time and tracking it back, even if it's after the event, you know, if you go 0 to 60 at someone, like you blow up, but after it you don't feel that great, then track back and look at what thought did you have when that happened, who were you talking to, what were you talking about, what was mentioned, what comments were mentioned, even what time of day it was, because sometimes it's like a pattern can emerge. Think about what that conversation or comment or what that thought, how did that make you feel? So you'll see, I've seen in the worksheet that you had for today, your belief worksheet, there is a process that humans go through to get to a behavior. So to create an action, we have to have our thought, which then directs the feeling, the emotion, that then impacts the behavior. So when you track that back, you can realize that, you know what, sometimes whenever I speak to that person, I always end up kicking off. Or when they mention something about XYZ, I then feel like this, and then I go and eat crap or something, you know. So your actions are affected by your beliefs, your thoughts, your emotions, fears. So we're going to be talking tonight about our limiting beliefs. So limiting beliefs, like we mentioned, they can take the form of generalizations. And take note if you say this to yourself as well. So it can come under, these are some examples. So you want, like, and this is, again, it's not to say that these are wrong or anything, but take note of how you feel if this is something that's holding you back, if this is something that's stopping you from achieving a goal or something you want to do or how you want to feel, then take note of that and think and listen and think about how you can flip that. So for example, a limiting belief could be, I'm too young to do that. I'm too old to do that. I don't know enough to do that. I don't have the right experience. I don't have the right knowledge. So this is important, to recognize your own limiting beliefs, because it's a state of mind that you believe is the absolute truth, and it's stopping you from doing certain things. So when you talk about, like when we mention that I'm too young, I'm too old, you know, is that true? Even just asking yourself that question, is that true? Is there no evidence of anyone else doing that thing that you want to do at your age or younger? Or is there no evidence of someone doing that thing that you want to do your age or older? And I can guarantee you, if you look into it, if you research it, then there'll be evidence of other people achieving these things. So you've got the evidence out there to reframe that limiting belief. But first you need to be aware of what it is. So that's like a really good activity to do, like write down anything that pops up when you want to do something. It's like, oh, I could never do that. Why not? And again, it's not to say limiting beliefs are bad. The reason we have them is to keep us safe. They protect us, because our brain and our mind will always, its first priority is to keep us safe. So that means a comfort zone, that means familiar, that means not trying anything new, that means not pushing yourself, that means not pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And yes, that will keep us safe, but it doesn't mean it's going to make us happy. It doesn't mean it's going to make, we're going to feel inspired or excited. And you know, me for one, I just feel like that's not living. So I challenge my limiting beliefs. And I only do that because I'm aware of it and I have that knowledge, and I know that that's why they're doing, why it's doing it, why it's there. It's an inbuilt safety mechanism. So it's there to keep us safe, and we do this also because we have these underlying fears about what will happen when we change our behavior. So some of the fears, the 4 main fears, the most common fears that people have, and you might have noticed them, so they're also in your worksheet, you might have noticed them or felt them in yourself, and you can have a combination of fears. Imagine that. I think, God, if you have the fear of success and the fear of failure, that's just cancelling out any action you want to take towards your goals if you're unaware of it. So you might know what you want to do, but you're not doing it, and you're like so frustrated with yourself, like, why am I doing that? And you might distract yourself just to stop yourself feeling that crappy feeling. But when you know this info, then you can start to chip away at that instead of blaming yourself and just staying stuck. So your fear of failure, that can look like, oh, and when I'm talking about all these fears, I would invite you to check in with yourself and think about if that shows up for you, if that resonates with you, and if it does, where do you feel it in your body? Is it in your heart? Is it in your stomach? Is it in your shoulders? Is it in your head? What feeling, what sensation do you have when you think about that fear? And also think about if and where it's ever shown up in your life. Think about any evidence that you've collected that proves that fear right. So your fear of failure, if I don't try, I won't fail. Fear of success, well, I don't want to get it all and then lose it. You don't want to risk disappointment. And fear of success is actually a belief that I had, and it was because I felt that if I'm successful, I'll be so busy, I'll have less time for myself, to look after myself, to see my friends and family. That doesn't feel or sound like success to me, so I self-sabotaged. So fear of rejection and being alone, that's your third fear. Obviously they're not in any order. So I don't want to let them down. What will they think of me? And again, that's a really big, I think a lot of people can resonate with that one. Like, what will they think? You know, a lot of business owners that I coach as well have struggled, like, even putting their message out on social media, because it's like they're scared of what people will think. So they're dealing with that fear of rejection, fear of being alone, and it's impacting their business and their income, because they're not putting themselves out there. They're not, you know, they don't feel like it's safe, so they keep themselves small. They feel like it's safer to push away than risk getting hurt. So you're keeping your armor on when you've got that fear. You might be like this big, bold, brash person that's just like gives as good as they get, and because you're like scared of them leaving you, scared of being hurt. And again, where do you feel this resonates? Where do you feel this in your body? And another one, fear of outshining others. So that can come in the form of not wanting to make people feel bad if you succeed. You know, that they'll think you're too big for your boots. And I think this is such a Scottish theme. You know, it's like, oh, don't be too successful, because who do you think you are, you know? And that the fear of outshining others, if you get to the next level, you'll have to leave your friends behind that you work with, your colleagues that you get on with. You have to leave them behind, or even your family members. Like, you're just too successful. You're not in the same same on a par anymore. So have a think about what limiting stories or phrases, fears have shown up for you there. How has this impacted your own view of success? And even where have you judged others for having what you want? Has that, you know, impacted your belief system? So it's great to be aware of our beliefs and our fears, because if we stay at this stage, then we can feel stuck. It's like, that's great. I know what fears I have, but what do I do with that info? And that's where, like, you're identifying your self-saboteur and figuring out what your values are. So in your worksheet, there's 10 saboteurs. So it's like the judge, the perfectionist, and again, there might be more than one at play within your belief system. Your values, that is like your guiding star. That is, you know, and again, you might not be following your value, or you might not be including it in your daily, how you work, how you live. So there might be a little bit of conflict there. You don't know where it's coming from, but once you know about your value and you start living authentically in your value, then you start to feel a little bit more in flow, you feel a bit lighter. So I'd encourage you to do that worksheet as well. Take a note of, have a look at what saboteur sounds like you, and also what your top 2 values are. So there's about, oh my God, I want to say it might be even 50 on the worksheet. Circle all the ones that you like the sound of, and then cross out the ones that, just keep crossing out the values until you get to your top 2. So you might like the sound of like 10, then you need to cut them down to 5, then you need to cut it down to like 3 or 2. So see how you get on with that, because it's such a powerful exercise. It's really good. So yeah, once you know that, to release your self-sabotaging behaviours, so you've got you've named your self-saboteur, you've got your value, you can reframe your limiting beliefs and your self-sabotaging behaviours with a few actions. So the first one, I would highly recommend, like we spoke about, looking for evidence that your limiting beliefs might not be true. Find evidence of the opposite. So write down everything you believe. So even think about your life, even think about time, like write down everything you believe about time. So it might be like, there's never enough, you waste a lot of it, yeah, whatever you think about time. And then a simple way to reframe it is just write the opposite, because think about it, if you say there's never enough time, you can then reframe it, flip that, and reframe it as there is more than enough time. I have more than enough time to do everything that I want to do and more. And just check in with how that feels. Obviously, if it doesn't feel true, if your brain's thrown up like, yeah, right, like a totally different belief system, tweak it. Even post in the group like what your like positive affirmation would be. What's your positive evidence, or if you need any help figuring one out, if this is the first time you've ever done it, post in the group and we can all give you a hand, or some other people might, you might be inspired by other people's phrases, comments, evidence. Yeah, the second step is a biggie. Like I mentioned before, your limiting beliefs and are only trying to keep you safe. So you really need to nurture and cultivate that safe feeling, that safe space within yourself. So you need to feel safe within your body. If you're always in fight or flight mode, then you're always going to be tapping into your limiting belief. That's always going to be running the show, and you're always going to be stuck in this subconscious programming and pattern that is just leaving you so drained at the end of the day, end of the week. You're just running on empty and you don't know why, because you are, again, tracking it back. You're having these thoughts, feelings that are then affecting your behaviour. So to cultivate your safe space, this can come in a range of options. Try and test what feels right for you and pick your favourite one. So a few examples are breath work. That's really big just now. Like, that is just really taking your, and that can be as simple as just taking your deep breaths into your stomach and breathing out. Take three big deep breaths. Box breathing, that's a really powerful one. Google breathwork techniques and you'll find a lot up there. Journaling, EFT, that's tapping on different meridian points. That is so powerful. I love EFT. Hypnotherapy, counselling, coaching, journaling, and positive affirmations. So again, it's just all, it's how you speak to yourself, it's how you feel in your body, how you feel in your skin, how you're, you know, sometimes just speak to yourself like someone you love. Like, sometimes we speak to ourselves like the worst way. We're worst, our inner critics are horrible. We speak to ourselves like we would never speak to anyone else, and if anyone else spoke to us the way we speak to ourselves, like, we would just not put up with it. But sometimes we take so much crap from our own brain. We have to just break that pathway and break that action, because it's sending us on this self-sabotaging loop that is cultivating in not having enough time for ourselves, just the basics, not being able to even look after ourselves on a basic level, put ourselves first, you know. So cultivate your own safe space within yourself. Number 3, become the detective of your own brain. Observe your thoughts, fears and doubts and anything else that comes up. Just get really curious and be like, I wonder where that comes from. When was the first time I thought that? Who else thinks like that? Where is that shown up? Where is that shown up in my life? When is that? When has a similar situation happened? Because we're being the detective and we're being curious, but we're not trying to figure out specific instances and actions, because it will adapt and it will evolve. It will look different every time, but the lesson and the foundational feeling will always be the same. So it will be, the underlying feeling will be, you don't feel that great when that happens, or you think that, or you do that, or it doesn't support you in a positive way. So something will happen, you don't feel great, and it's also not helping you live the life you want to live. It's not helping you achieve the goals you want to achieve. Start to get curious on that behaviour, that action, and track back to the feeling that you had felt before it and the thought you had before that feeling. Like, what were you thinking? What were you doing before that feeling kicked in? And again, this can feel quite difficult and uncomfortable, but challenge it and take action. And that doesn't have to even be a big, massive challenge. When I say challenge, it's like, you know, just push yourself a little bit. It might be pushing yourself out your comfort zone a little bit. How can you gently but firmly test that fear or belief that's popping up? And obviously, it's your fear or belief. So have a think about that. Just have a think. And also, what accountability and support do you need to do that? So don't do it all on your own. Check in with the Facebook group. Check in with, mention it to like your best friend or a loved one or your family. You know, they probably won't be surprised about this limiting belief, and they'll just want the best for you. So they'll be there to support you, and maybe even just to flag up when you're in the limiting belief bubble. Then they're outside looking in, aren't they? So they might be a more efficient observer while you're still trying to figure this out. It's like when you first go to the gym and you're trying to work out or lift weights, you start at the little piddly 2K weights because like you've got no muscle, and then you slowly build that up, and before you know it, you're lifting, you know, 10 and 15 and 20 dumbbells. But this, treat your limiting beliefs and your mind as a muscle that you're just got to work out, little bits, little workouts every day. Gently observe any beliefs that pop up, how you feel about them, and what action you're taking, and if that's aligned with your values, like how you want to live. It's all about living mindfully and with intention, you know, so you don't look back on your life and be like, you know what, I wish I'd went that way instead of that way, or done XYZ instead of what I did end up doing. So just move forward with one small action when this fear or belief or behavior pops up. What will you do? For example, if you're overwhelmed with your to-do list, what one small step can you do when you feel overwhelmed? Do you take one thing off your to-do list? Do you go and have a break? Do you make a coffee? Think what would work for you. And if you're a procrastinator, if you just can never get started for whatever reason, and again, you might know that now because of the fears that we've spoke about and the self-sabotaging behaviour. If you have a side hustle or a business you're trying to get going and get started, but you're just procrastinating, like you're just not getting started, what will you do when you start procrastinating, when you notice that you're just not wanting to get started? And I really want to acknowledge you guys for doing this work and even attempting these steps, attempting to challenge it, attempting it to be the detective of your own beliefs. Even filling the worksheet in, it's like it's quite a big bit of chunky info. So honestly, I just want to acknowledge you guys for showing up tonight on the live, downloading the worksheet, because when you are aware of your fears, beliefs, and you say them out loud, you write them down, when you stick that label on them, that's when they lose their power. And that's when you can, like, you feel so much lighter, you feel like you've got your direction back, your motivation, you're inspired, you can move forward in the direction you want to move in because you're now aware, and that 95% programming isn't running the show anymore. So I hope that all makes sense. I hope you've got something out of that tonight's training. Yeah, and if you need me, you know where I am. If you've got any questions about today's theme and topic, beliefs and values, then post in the Facebook group. Don't forget to post your takeaways in there and share in there to be in with a chance to win a free coaching session with me. We can dive into this a little bit deeper if you want, or you can even use it just to get started. Whatever suits you. And so that's the #1 prize. The second prize is a bespoke meditation recording. Again, we can tailor that to describe your safe place. We can tap into that for you if that's something you want to do. And also there's going to be, the third prize is going to be a self-development book bundle. My favorite self-development books that really helped me when I was starting out and going along this journey as well. So yeah, feel free to post in the Facebook group. And yeah, tomorrow's theme is confidence. So now you will have your time audit, you'll have your beliefs and your fears, info and evidence. Tomorrow we're going to take a little bit of action. There's not any worksheets, but there's going to be a little action task for you when your email drops in the morning. So it'll drop at 7 in the morning. And yeah, this replay will be in there as well if you want to go back and listen to anything. I know it's quite a meaty topic, so even if you want to go back and take any notes, feel free to do that. Whatever works for you. This is, you know, just a framework for you to use and plug in whatever you need. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 3 and confidence theme. Take care. Have a great night, guys. See ya.